We have the first question that we want to ask you. It's really confusing, perplexing. Is it York Ice versus Good Time Ice? We see that on business cards. We see it in different places. So, which are you? Help us.
Well, we're kind of both. We started in 1872 as the H.L. Newman Ice Cream Company. We incorporated in 1905 as the York Ice and Milk Company because we thought we'd be getting into milk as we were in ice cream and ice. Um, we dropped the end milk in 1971 and we're just the York Ice Company Incorporated. That is our official business name. Somewhere in the late 70s, we decided that we should create a brand so that you could be more regional because people in York wanted to buy York. People in the next city over with their ice company wanted to buy from their ice company. So going to Good Time Ice gave us more of a regional presence that wasn't associated with a town itself. So corporate name is the York Ice Company Incorporated, but we run our product as Good Time Ice.
So I do have a question before we navigate away from your website. If Ethan will scroll back up. In this picture, I noticed you have ice on the building behind the building in the picture. And I'm wondering, is that part of your facility as well?
That is part of our facility.
Okay.
That building was put up in 1912, and it's about 3 feet thick with brick. There's about 6 inches of cork insulation and then some plaster. We don't use the top two floors of it anymore, but the bottom we've re-insulated and still have some of the original cork insulation and use it to store ice. At the
Wow.
time it was built, we were cutting ice off rivers and ponds, and you'd store that block ice in there without refrigeration and fill the whole thing with ice.
Very cool.
How much ice can you store? What are you guys up to today?
We store somewhere about 3,000 pallets when we go into summer.
All right. Well, for everyone joining us, this is Jarrod Snyder of the York Ice Company. He is the president, and he is also the current chairman of the IPIA, the International Packaged Ice Association. And so, thank you so much for joining us today, Jarrod. We want to hear more about your family run business, the history of it. And so, if you would just kind of give us a little more depth. You started at the beginning there.
When my great 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 grandfather got out of the Civil War and got recovered from being shot in the leg, he decided to get into the ice cream business. And so in 1872, he started an ice cream business in York. And of course, at that time, you had to have ice to make ice cream. So why not just start two businesses? Over the years, they've been involved in some other businesses. We sold the ice cream off to Borden's Dairy in 1930. We had a sand and supply company, and with that, we had a brick company. Somehow they got into an amusement company in York, just a small one. Those have all been sold off over the years, long before I came along. And so we just have the ice company at this point. I'm the sixth generation. As far as we can tell, we're the oldest family-run ice company, continuously family-run ice company in the country. There's a group over in England that's a couple years older than we are. But so, yeah, I'm sixth generation, and I get to come to work every day and see the fifth generation and the fourth generation, and even sometimes there's a seventh generation here for lunch.
So, cool. What generation did you guys stop harvesting, out of the lakes there and move into ice production as we know it today?
Somewhere in the late teens, that change started happening of producing artificial ice versus harvesting natural ice. And that shift just kind of continued on as artificial ice, or ice as we know it today, became more popular and easier to make year round. People moved that way, and we just kind of slowly took that curve and kept growing with it.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, we're going to dive into an icebreaker real quick. One of the questions that I wanted to find out, and Jeff and I discussed this, what's the longest amount of time you've ever spent in a row at the ice plant? What were you doing? Obviously, you're having to make ice, but what's the longest you've ever been at the ice plant?
Oh, I've probably had 20-hour days here already, just getting to work early and staying late, mostly due to breakdowns. Usually I have a 12 to 14-hour work day and then go home. Occasionally, I'll get talked into coming back in for a trailer, but usually my long, long days, or if there's a breakdown, it's something needs to get fixed to get back up and running.
So you never had to stay the night or multiple days in a row or
Not
get ice?
not multiple days in a row. There's been some days that have been questionable whether it was worth driving home just to drive back here 3 hours later. Um, Usually that's when like hurricanes have happened and we're just shipping ice like crazy. Um, but no, I don't think I've been here multiple days in a row.
Okay. Well, you were talking about, just going home and, obviously you've got a family. Tell us a little bit about your family, your beautiful wife, Corey, and your four children.
My wife Corey and I were high school sweethearts, and she tells me I was an okay boyfriend, a better fiance, and a great husband. Because at one point when we she moved back to the area from college. She kind of wanted to get together, and I said, "It's summertime. I don't have time to be dating anybody. Like, talk to me in the fall after hunting season's over." So
Wow.
I get a little flack for that. Um, but we've been married 16 years. We've got 4 kids. That's a little dated picture, as they're now. The oldest is 13, and the youngest is 9, I believe.
Gotcha. And let's see, we got a few other pictures. This looks a little newer,
Mhm.
I think, or is this still a dated picture?
I think that's 2 years old.
Okay,
It's hard to deny any of them as being mine.
that's right. So tell us about this little fluffer.
Uh, we
And I'm
had
talking
a
about, by the way, not the bearded guy.
Yeah, we had a I had had a hunting dog when Corey and I first got together. That was not happy that I was dating somebody that got to sit in the front seat of the truck. Um, so we worked through that issue, and that dog eventually went. And then we'd gotten a 100-pound golden retriever from some friends that couldn't take care of the dog anymore. And after that dog passed, we said, we're done with dogs for a while. We're not having any pets. There's too much going on in life. And that was in June. And I think in November, I went to the mountains hunting with one of my kids and got a text of, we're going to look at golden doodle puppies. Aren't they so cute? Maybe we should get one. The following week, we came home with a puppy, and that is Tucker. He is a mini golden doodle, and he is just a happy little dog that wants to be with you all the time and has just been a joy to have around the house.
Yeah, I thought it was a straight up golden because I've got two golden doodles. Now, did he fluff up any? Or the curls, or is he? It looks like
He has a lot of curls, and you see the poodle in him right before he goes to the groomer. When he comes back from the groomers, you'd say there's no poodle in that dog. But
yeah.
it's amazing to not have a dog that doesn't shed in any way, shape, or form and is like 30 pounds max.
Same way. Not to make this an advertisement for golden doodles, but they're fantastic because, like you said, the little dust balls running around the house are few and far between when it comes to
Yeah.
golden doodles. So
Mm.
they're pretty awesome animals.
I mean, he's not much of a hunting dog. Like, he doesn't point to anything. He won't retrieve a bird. He's scared of a gunshot. So he's I guess, just a family pet at this point.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And just got a few other photos that we had.
Yeah,
I wanted to find one that's.
I
This
think
is what I
that's the
remember,
only
Jared,
one I've ever seen Jarrod with no beard.
without a
No, the
beard.
beard didn't start till about 2019 when I just got tired of shaving and said, forget it.
Yeah, yeah, and he's still rocking on. All right, well, very good. Well, thank you for letting us know a little bit about your family there.
Yeah. So, since we were talking about your family, I wanted to ask, did you ever have any doubts about going into the family business? Or was that you were sort of voluntold that was going to be your destiny?
My family has always been very good about letting us make choices about what career we wanted. They've always encouraged it. As babies, there was always a crib in the office, and this is where we were as babies. When we were off school for the day, this is where we were. So it's always been made fun for us. I mean, at age 12, I was here riding trucks as a helper, running our retail dock with my cousins on Saturdays, and at that point, putting in 40-hour weeks in the summer, and came home absolutely in love with the ice business and didn't want to do anything else. I mean, there aren't many people that at age 12 say, this is what I want to do and stick with it.
Right.
I
Unless you're
went.
a baseball player or a football player that's able to make it. You're right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I went through high school and like, okay, well, I guess I've got to go to college next to get some type of business degree so I can come into the family business. And I did, after 3 semesters of college, I decided to really get serious about my education. And I quit college at the first opportunity when my uncle said, hey, a distributor of ours is getting out of a distribution center that we jointly run. Would you be interested in running it and coming into the ice business as a career? And I didn't blink twice. I immediately went to college and dropped out. And I've been at York Ice ever since and feel that I've got some of the best education in the world from my uncles, my mother, my grandfather, from on the job training. It's just been a great education being here.
Yeah, School of Hard Knocks. So, what does the future look like for the younger ones in the family? Are they pining for it at the age of 12 as well?
Well, that kind of has yet to be seen. My grandfather has like 14 great grandkids. Number doesn't sound right. Corey's going to yell at me for that, but he's got a bunch of great grandkids. The oldest of which is 14, and the youngest is 2. So there's a big span there to figure out what those kids want to do with their lives yet. But again, they enjoy coming to work. Some of them are helping in the office. We've kind of committed that the business is here until we figure out what they want to do, just as the previous generation kept it running to see what my generation was interested in.
Yeah.
We've been offered to sell the business a couple times, and we've kind of said, as long as there's a next generation interested, we're going to run it for them and see what they want to do. So it's totally their choice if they want to come in this business. I strongly encourage it because it's a lot of fun, but we'll see what they end up doing.
So following up on that, since we're talking so much about family, we know you're a dad. We got to ask you, give us your best dad joke. What's your go-to?
Wow, my best dad joke. No, I'm not really sure what my best dad joke is off the cuff.
Well, tell you what, and that's the reason we have him icebreakers. So we get comedy in lots of different ways. So even when we can stump you on something, I'll tell you mine, and my son knows it quite well. But what did the 0 say to the 8? Hey, nice belt. And what did the 8 say to the 0? Hey, where's your belt? So, I got a bunch of them. They only get worse from here. So, but that's where we'll go with that one.
My wife would say I've got a bunch of dad jokes, but I guess I don't recognize them as dad jokes.
Right. That's our weakness, right?
Yeah. No, that's pretty much it. Until we, people have to call us out on it. But I definitely know that that's in the dad joke category because I've been called on it many, many times. So maybe your family's a little kinder to you on what your jokes are versus the dad jokes.
No, I get the groans and the eye rolls like anybody else does.
All right, well then those are your dad jokes, man. So
I just don't remember what they are. It's it's been a long day at work.
That's right. Well, based on your time frame, you still got another 6 hours to put in today. So, which is probably
I've been here since a little before 4 a.m. So I'm well on my way.
All right.
Well, going back to serious questions, who has been the biggest influence in your life? Would you say?
Biggest influence in my life, I would probably have to say both my uncles, my Uncle Dave and my Uncle Ed. My parents split when I was 15 or 16, and it was those two men that drugged me into the woods and took me to the cabin and spent time with me doing stuff. It's somewhat because of them that I love the outdoors and that I love the ice business. They've taught me about life. They've taught me about running a business, how to be a good dad, how to be a good man, how to walk out my Christian faith, how to fear God. They've just been great role models and mentors. So I'd have to say equally the two of them have had the greatest influence in my life.
That's very cool to hear you say that because so many family-run businesses hit a stage where it's a real struggle to work with their their family members. It's really neat to see a company like yours, but I'm sure you guys have struggles, and I'm sure it's not smooth every day. But we do want to ask one other fun question. Since you work with all your family, we're going to ask you to name uh, if someone gets to the office late, who's the most likely person that it's going to be?
Uncle Dave.
It
Well, I
is.
mean, we all have our staggered start times. My brother and I are usually here at 4 a.m. to start loading trucks, make sure ice makers ran good overnight, production's getting started up. My cousin Andy usually rolls in next to get trucks dispatched for the day, make any minor changes. Mom usually rolls in shortly after that, between 6 and 7 o'clock, depending on the time of year. Ed rolls in, 6:30, 7 o'clock. Um, Dave, if he's coming to work that day, is usually about 7:15 or 7:30, and then my
Okay.
aunt and cousins usually roll in to do office work anywhere from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I
Do
guess
you
Grandpa
notice?
could be the latest. He usually gets here by 10 o'clock to have a cup of coffee and think about what we're having for lunch.
That's right.
I was going to say, did you notice he said if Dave comes to work that
I,
day?
I did catch
So,
that. So.
yeah, the hierarchy is evident, right?
The hierarchy is evident, yes.
um, we want to get into, we already said that, that you're the chairman of the IPA for this coming year. And before we get into that, what are some things that you like to do to unwind when you're not at the ice plant?
I just love to be outside. I mean, I can work all day and go home and be happy to play in the garden, be with the kids in the swimming pool, mow the yard. Put me outside. I love being in the woods. I love hunting. I don't get to do as much of it just with kids' schedules and everything, and that's fine. But put me outside in the woods and I'm happy. Put me in my cabin in the mountains and I'm happy. I mean, I'm not sitting still. I'm going to still go split firewood or go for a hike or do something. But put me outside and I'm a happy person.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Well, and one other thing before we get into the IPIA, another icebreaker would be I noticed through a little bit of my research for you, who would you say is the best athlete in the family?
Well, I guess that depends how you define an athlete. Are we talking, professional sports, or are you just talking outdoors all around?
I guess I have to say when I think about it, I'm going to probably lean in the category of sports. So,
Well,
uh,
I guess I'd have to say my cousin Andy because he's the only one that cares about sports.
all
I mean,
right. Well, I guess.
my brother and I could care less about sports. We'd much rather have a gun in our hands and be at the shooting range or in the woods. Uncle Dave would much rather be fishing or hunting. Uncle Ed slowed down in his basketball playing days. So I guess I'd have to say my cousin Andy.
Well, we
So,
saw a couple pictures. I was talking about more your immediate family there
Oh, okay.
with your catch.
The immediate family. I mean, he wanted to go play catch, so we found some ball gloves and played catch. Somehow, all my kids have developed an athletic gene that didn't come from me, so I'm not sure how they got it.
Well,
But
I noticed from this picture, if you remember when we had Ben Albrecht's on, he was down and ready. I would say you're not in good fielding position here. I know your son's about to receive it, but you just look like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing here, but here, catch.
I can manage my own, but I'd have been much happier if he wanted to go shoot sporting clays or something.
Yeah, yeah.
We're just a little early for that.
So we got a few others here. So not that you have to narrate
Well,
all the.
that's Kenzie, who is my second child, and she has become a soccer pro and just loves being on the soccer field. And her team last year went incredibly far at the PA State Challenge Cup, and they play some incredible soccer. And now I've become a soccer dad,
There
which
you
I'd have
go.
lost a bet years ago.
All right. Let me know about this picture.
That's Mariah. They're in the smaller one with no swim cap on, and she has become a fish in water and just excels at swimming and has gone to the all stars within our state and has more ribbons and medals in her room than we know what to do with.
I think he's a bigger sports fan than he
Well,
led on. So I
It's
mean,
because I love my kids. That's about it.
that's the way it works.
right,
My,
right.
my oldest Aubrey is starting to really get into field hockey. That's really a new sport for her, but she's playing field hockey again this year, and just she's dedicated to it.
Yeah,
So,
that's great. Here I wanted the sign of a true athlete is at the point that they're about to engage in whatever athletic event. I'm sure it's the same thing for hunting. I didn't get into it. My dad was a big bass fisherman, but I didn't particularly care for bass fishing just because I couldn't see my opponent. But this is the face of a serious athlete ready to get after it. It's like I'm going to beat whoever's next to me down. They are going down.
and she is. She tells everybody you're going to eat my bubbles. Like I'm going to be faster than the water than you are, and you can watch me get out when we're done because I'm going to beat you.
Yeah, yeah.
That's really funny.
You're going to have to swim through my tread. That's so funny. And this
Pretty much.
picture is
And
beyond
And
awesome.
Isaiah, my youngest has watched how much fun that his sister has swimming, and so he's gotten into it as well, and he is building up speed um, at a remarkable pace, and he's bringing home ribbons and medals like crazy too.
That's very cool. It's
So
neat
yeah,
to see that.
we just transition from season to season. There's not much downtime between swim and soccer and field hockey and piano and church and trying to find a day of doing nothing.
Yeah.
And working in 12 to 16-hour days.
Well,
Yeah,
it's neat to see that you're engaging in all these different sports, even though it's not a passion of yours. It becomes a passion of yours by proxy through your kids, right?
yeah.
So we do want to ask you a little bit more about the IPIA, especially since you're here on this episode as the chairman. What lessons have you learned serving on the board in the leadership of the IPIA?
It's been interesting to see icemen of all size companies, from the large companies down to the small guy that's a one man show doing it all. We kind of really all want each other to succeed. Like, we're here to sell a product, we're here to sell ice. Yeah, there's competition, but we want everybody to succeed in business, and it's become one big family. I mean, like any family, there's people who don't get along as well as others, but the ice business is a weird business. The people that are in it have a lot of passion for it and want each other to succeed, and so that's been really fun to see.
That was something that was new to me when I came to work for KCS, serving the ice company, the ice industry. Everywhere I'd worked before here, um, you have definite lines of competition, and competitors wouldn't really help each other. They were all about taking the business for themselves. But the ice industry really does have a cooperative kind of feeling about it that in a lot of cases people are able to help each other because they don't overlap geographically. But I know a lot of ice guys are willing to help folks that are just down the road, even
Yeah,
though it limits their own growth potential, but it's good for the overall industry. I like that.
it makes it a lot of fun to go to work and have friendly competition and fierce competition, but it makes it enjoyment to go to work and know those people are out there willing to help if you really need it.
Hmm.
So, for the people out there, with you being involved, with the IPIA, if there was somebody that's listening to the podcast right now, how would they go about, getting engaged into the IPIA? What are some of the steps that they would have to go through to, get signed up? What advice would you give them, and to be able to get going?
Well, I mean, to become a member of the IPIA, you've got to pay some dues. But the biggest thing is passing your PICS inspection for packaged ice quality control standards. That we know there's a level of sanitation that you're doing in your facility, um, just to be part of our group. I mean, first step is come to a convention, see what we're all about, see the education there, meet the suppliers, spend time with people. Um, you know, talk to the IPIA office about what it takes to do a PICS inspection and get involved. We've got a mentor program to give you whatever help you want to work through the PICS program, because again, we want you to succeed. So that was last year's IPIA convention in Las Vegas. They're a lot of fun to go to, and you learn a lot.
But it's, as you mentioned, it's not just going to the trade show. It is a membership where you are paired up with mentor companies,
Yep.
and there's standards that are involved, and you're able to put the seal
Yep.
of approval on it if you earn it once you qualify.
And once you're a member, it's like anything else. You're going to get out of it what you're willing to put into it. If you're going to get involved, you're going to get more out of it. We've got different committees for membership, for government advocacy, promoting, food safety across the board. The more involved you get, the more you're going to find value in it. We've been doing a lot of things at conventions to give education as well. But last year we did some winter webinar series to try to put more information out there for individuals. And, how do we help you as a small business run your business? You can't know everything. We've got an e-newsletter that goes out highlighting different things, plan operations tips, membership tips, highlighting people's successes when they're in the news or when they're, online helping people out. So there's a lot of benefit to being a member. And I highly encourage ICE companies that are not members to really look into it. Come to our convention in Austin this year, really dig into it and see what it's all about.
And being the president or the chairman, sorry, tell us what your typical year looks like. Because, you have to visit the majority of all the, or you have the opportunity to go visit all the associations. What's your year like? Because it's not just being on phone calls of what you have to do. There's a lot of work.
This year, from accepting the gavel in November, it's, setting up your committees for the year and getting them motivated to work on whatever projects that we've been working on or some new things that you want to get started with. We talked about some winter webinars and got them going this year. Come spring, it was visiting the Southern Ice Exchange, the Southwestern Ice Association, the Mo Valley and Great Lakes. There was a trip in there to go meet the new CEO of Ready Ice and try to talk about the benefits of the IPIA with him. Summer's been relatively quiet, but it's helping plan a convention. And there's the Northeast Ice Association regional meeting in the fall, and I'm trying to get over to the European Ice Association this year. A little busy in August, so I didn't go to the Australian. We also have a spring board meeting and a fall board meeting to get to, and then as well as being at the convention, itself, keeping that running. Now, I say all that, and that sounds like a lot of work, but the truth is Maria and Melissa at the office make it really easy. They're the ones that do the heavy lifting. I just sit here and look good.
Well, we can.
I know that's a lie.
Well, Jeff is still trying to recover from his jet lag. He just came back from the PIA in Australia, so he just had that trip and had a good time. Mm-hmm. The last question I want to ask before we wrap up here in a few minutes would be, what does it take to go in, and what made you decide Austin this year, and just that venue?
It gets a little tough sometimes finding a hotel. We try and balance back and forth, East Coast, West Coast, bouncing back and forth in geography a little bit. Personally, I was originally hoping for Colorado, but when you start putting it out there to hotels to say we want this many rooms and this much convention space, and we want it in this time frame in November before Thanksgiving. We put some parameters on there, and we don't want to spend more than X for a hotel room for a night for our members. You start getting limited in where you can go. Suncoast Meetings does a great job of trying their best to put out a lot of requests for proposals to a lot of different cities and hotels. And then you kind of get narrowed down to, these are the options that work with what we're looking for. This year we chose Austin, and it's going to be a great convention. Austin's a fun town, a lot of great food, a lot of great live music. We're downtown Austin. We're going to go visit a Ready Plant tour. There's the regular golf tournament. This year we're going to do a sporting clay shoot. And the truth is, whatever town we go to, we have a good time.
We're going to have a good time.
Well, we're going to have a good time. And Austin has also become, Joe Rogan has moved his headquarters there, and he has a comedy called The Mothership, a comedy store or show. And, a lot of comedians are coming in, so it's becoming kind of a comedian capital of the world as well.
Tesla has their biggest headquarters now.
Austin's growing like crazy. It's become a really big city and a lot going on there.
Yep.
Well, I'm a little disappointed you didn't reach out to Elon to get a personal tour for us all to go by their Gigafactory.
There's still time.
Hey, I tried.
Did you?
I told Maria, I said, hey, we're doing a factory tour. This would be an awesome factory tour.
I should have known it. I mean, he sits here and sells himself. Everybody else does anything, but we ask him a question. He's like, this is why. I mean, just knocking out all the things. So we know how hard you work. We appreciate it. All the people associated with the IPIA.
Well, I will say, if anyone's thinking about going and hadn't made the decision yet, I enjoyed the facility there we did the board meeting there in spring. Really enjoyed Austin. I'd never been there before, and I think it's going to be a great location. I think if you're on the fence, take the chance. Come to Austin with us. We'd love to shake your hand and get to know you. Jarrod, I want to ask, before we close today, I just want to ask the question, if you're talking to a new ice company, a new guy, maybe someone new to the business. I know I made an introduction with one of our clients that is kind of new to the business. And what are some of the things that you think of or that you would give advice to those folks?
Well, I mean, the most important thing when you're getting in the ice business is to make sure that you've got good routing software like RouteMan.
Well,
Very good. Touche.
We weren't expecting that answer, but
I'll take my $20 later, guys.
That's right.
For somebody getting into the ice business, go visit some other icemen. Go talk to people. Go network with people. The IPIA convention's a great way to do that. If that feels a little overwhelming for you or the time doesn't work, find one of your regional ice associations and go to it. It doesn't even have to be the one in your region if the dates don't work for you. But go spend time with other icemen. Some of us have been doing this for a lot of years, and we're willing to help people that are just getting into it. I've got a couple people I met, a year or two ago that are just getting into it. They're really small. And we just text occasionally, a question comes up or, hey, how you doing? Or I saw you on Facebook, keep it up. You're doing a good job. Go visit a couple ice plants. I don't know many ice plants that'll say, nope, you can't come in for a tour. Most independent icemen are willing to show you what they're doing, why they're doing it, and show off their plant. And you'll find good ideas of how other people are doing stuff. You don't need to go reinvent the wheel when other people have tried something and said, that just doesn't work and here's why. Get to know people, network with people. And at some point, they're going to help you, whether it's buying ice from you or you're buying ice from them, or you can't find the parts you need to get back up and running and you make a couple phone calls and there's a guy states away that's got it sitting on a shelf that says, yeah, I'll put it in the mail tomorrow and we'll overnight it to you. We'll figure out payment later. It's knowing people and networking with people has helped our business tremendously. Again, buying ice, selling ice, and staying running when things happen.
And I know it seems like a simple process to freeze ice and deliver it, but you mentioned a routing system, but just the technology that goes into the ice plant itself, there's a lot more to it than just freezing ice.
Absolutely.
And you can spend a great deal of money trying to make things as automated as possible, but going and doing those plant tours, you can see it in operation. So it's a great way to learn.
Yep.
Well, and again, another plug for the convention, come to Austin, come to the convention if you're getting involved. We've got all the suppliers in one room that you can talk to them. You can look at different options for routing software, different places to buy ice boxes and parts, different people that'll help you build a freezer, build a plant, that'll tell you why you should fully automate versus why at your size you don't want to automate. But you've got all those suppliers in one room that are a wealth of knowledge and information, as well as a bunch of ice men to point you in the right direction. Get involved, go learn. Don't do it by yourself. Go find somebody to help you out, even if it's just as a mentor. And everybody I know at the IPIA is willing to help you if you ask.
Well, we appreciate having you. We're coming to you from the Routman Studios, from the KCS office headquarters here in Pelham, Alabama. We are so appreciative of having you on, Jarrod. I know I speak for Jeff and myself on that. Best of luck. Thank you for your continued service to the IPIA and your principles, your family-run business, all the above. It's just a fantastic story. We appreciate you joining us.
Thank you, Jarrod.
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. Dad joke. Where do rainbows go when they break the law? They go to prison, so they have time to reflect on their light sentence.